Yes, hello. How are you? Again, I'm here with you, Mr. Masai, to continue from where we left. I believe that if you've come for this third lesson, you must be interested, and this is very good. I have shared the first and the second, why revision fails. It is now on YouTube. You can watch, and I'm here to share on the third lesson, which will talk about the fourth reason as to why revision fails. And after this, probably talk about the fifth and the sixth reason. I don't know if you've heard that person who says that I'm not good at revising before exams. I may be that kind of a person, though I don't ignore everything. What I do is that I do understand that revision does not require you to be under pressure. Revision does not require you to be under anxiety and emotion. And there is this thing I want to share, which has also contributed to my the kind of transcripts I've gotten in my university. And also, my high school was also affected by the same. But in high school, I want to thank the teachers who supported me and who helped me to ensure that I had a good kind of life when tried to ensure that I was free from stress. In university, I've faced this challenge and I've learned this. Um, Most of the times, I've found myself that I have nothing, totally nothing. I don't even have a shilling. I can't attend the lesson because I don't have enough for paying the bus fare. And number two, you find that I'm struggling. I don't have something to eat. So, where has this driven me? It is so sad because it is something which is affecting many people even today. I found myself at one time again and again watching movies. Uh, I'm that kind of a person who loves reading, but I know there is what it takes to read, and that is what I want to share with you today. I found myself I have nothing, and because some of the days when I went to school, I would download several movies, several many episodes, which are just to keep me busy. So I find the whole of the day I'm just watching again and again and again. I can do nothing. I have the books here. I can look at the books. I can't read. I want to, but I cannot because there is something which is very important for us to understand as teachers, as parents, and as learners, that learning does not take place when stress takes dominance. It is important to understand this, and that is why I'm sharing about the emotional blocks of Alana and the mental blocks. They are important things which will help us understand that learning cannot take place under given situations, and we need to check how stressed the learner is. How stressed am I? Because most of the times I have seen that there are teachers who don't care, and also parents prior the exams they'll put all kind of pressure thinking that the learner will study because of the pressure, but no, telling the learner about the pressure of the exam is one of the things you should avoid as much as possible. uh, it is good we understand that revision isn't just academic, it is emotional. So one of the things that make if revision ineffective is the emotional blocks. Think about anxiety. Think about low self esteem. Think about burnout, lack of zeal. These are things which can sabotage even the best efforts of a learner. The worst, the worst, when you find that you're stressed, learning is quite hard. Um, we need to try as much as possible to avoid all stress and to ensure that learners are emotionally okay and learners are mentally fine. That is when you consider the mental health of the learners is something which is very important and to check in for every time because Sometimes we don't have to neglect learners and let them, okay, let it happen. And some of the things we have seen which are associated with the mental and emotional blocks is number one, something we call fear of failure. Many people have never accepted that failing is the path to succeeding. Many people have not accepted that success is like a paint on a wall which is built by ugly blocks. These ugly blocks are the failure. It is what make you strong. It is what make you rigid. So it is important that learners should understand that okay, I have failed, but now I'm going to redo it now in a better way. But most of the times you find, okay, I failed. I don't want to fail again. Let it be. There are some people who don't revise the very difficult concepts because they feel like failure to understand of these concepts is a failure, is actually a problem. If they don't understand that is they have failed and they don't want to fail again. So they just let it go. That is not the way. Failure or the fear of failure will create something we call mental resistance, where you find actually you may try to learn, you may try to do everything, but your mind says, no, I cannot receive this, I cannot permit this, I cannot learn this. And that is a great reason as to why we need to consider the emotional and mental blocks. Make sure that learners, you are aware of what fear dominates in them. Fear for exams, fear for failure, fear for everything, and even fear for the teacher is another reason. You don't need to, you don't need to frighten your children. If you're that kind of a teacher who is a terror to the children, you're that kind of a parent who is a terror to the children, then know that revision will never be effective and learners will never revise well and will never do something which is fruitful until you ease that pressure and you get rid of that fear. The other problem which I've seen also, which is associated with this, is comparison with others. And another moment, I want to appreciate what CBC is driving forward. What CBC is, what the CBE is after, not failure, not comparison, but actually let the learner do their best. Let the learner do what they are good in. Let the learner do what they can do, not them doing according to other people. Let them not be compared. Let them not be ranked. That is good because actually comparison is one of the things which gave me a lot of stress because I didn't understand that I have got my own potential. And one of the things in high school, for instance, which made drop drastically and in a way that I never expected is comparison because I could compare to no one. I could compare to no one. So because I could compare to no one, you found that I don't need to study anymore. I don't need to work hard. I was not anymore doing something which I'm good in. I was doing something which I will outsmart the other people, and I was well when I do that. Think about it when you are the best. Yes, you feel that pride, but is there motivation? No. Think about it when you are comparing with your peers, but you know well your potential cannot reach theirs. They are not at par. Then again, you'll be discouraged. So, teachers, stop comparing learners. If you want learners to revise well, guide learners at their individual. Be Try to meet learners at individual level and guide them at individual level. When you keep comparing learners, there are some of the learners which will feel very destitute. And as a learner, stop comparing yourself with other people. Do what you can. Try everything possible not to be the best, but to do your best. Fear of failure comparison with others. They just mess up with the mind. Understanding becomes a challenge. Then the other thing which I also talked about, and I want now to talk about this in this level where we can talk about it because it affects us emotionally and also mentally, is lack of rest. I've come to notice that, especially with the 844 system, most of the learners are not sleeping enough, are not getting enough rest, simply because they are trying to do everything. And by the sometimes I ask myself, what is the sense of denying or sacrificing sleep? And during the day, you keep jumping the whole day, doing nothing. Then at night is when you are straining yourself to complete the assignments, to study, and to do all that. Just need to plan your time well. Make sure you have enough rest. Exhaustion kills focus and creativity. Learners cannot be creative. Learners cannot be focused. They cannot focus if they are exhausted. And one of the things which refreshes us and gets rid of exhaustion is enough sleep. Teachers, make sure that your learners are getting enough sleep. Parents, make sure that your children are getting enough sleep. And learners, you are doing this for your own good. Make sure you are getting enough sleep. That one will be very, very, very important for your academic welfare. So, something that happens to affect our emotions, something that happens to affect our minds, is something which definitely becomes an enemy to our revision if it affects in the negative way. So, what are we supposed to do? As a learner, what are you supposed to do? As a parent, what are you supposed to do? As a teacher, you need to give learners or children tasks which aim at progress rather than perfection. If they are not perfect, by the way, I didn't mention this. This is another problem. Perfection. You know, many people who don't do things in the right way, they are perfectionists because they want to do it in the right way. They want to do it in the perfectly right way, and you can never do anything in the perfect way possible. The perfect way is the one which is possible, but beyond the possibility, stop wasting time. So let us avoid being perfectionists. Let us practice self compassion, where learners look at their progress and not how perfect they are. When we are talking about perfectionism, is about self crucifixion, while on the other hand, progress is about self comparison, compassion. You love yourself, you care for yourself, and you want to do everything good for yourself, not for the sake of being perfect. You know you are not perfect. You know that. The other thing which I'll want to talk about is something we call affirmations. You need to use positive affirmations to get rid of stress, to get rid of all those kind of negative emotions. You need to supply yourself with a positive force. You need to pray. You need to anchor your identity beyond grades. You are not identified by the grades. You are more than your grades. You are more than scoring 50%. You are more than scoring 80%. You are more than scoring 75%. That is not your worth. That is not the defining factor of who you are. So you need to know yourself and anchor your identity beyond grades, because this is something which stresses many people, because if they find they get something below what they aspire and or below their ideal, you find that they are fighting against themselves and they are stressed. They are emotionally stressed. They stress themselves mentally, and even physically. You don't need to stress yourself. Remember, the ideal will ever be in a conflict with the real. The ideal will ever be in the conflict with the real, and you are there to solve that conflict, not to propel it further, because you are made of ideal and real. So choose to be real, choose to be yourself. Ideal is for the sake of motivating you. Ideal is for the sake of telling you that there are higher standards I need to achieve, and maybe not give up so easily or not relax thinking that you've achieved. The other thing we can do is scheduling rest days. By the learners need to rest, and rest is a recovery. It is the recovery from all the mental fatigue, all the stress throughout the week. If you really study the 7 days of the week, then you are doing yourself evil. You are not doing justice to yourself. If you are running an institution and you are training your learners to be all times revising, then you are doing them evil. Yeah, set aside some rest days, rest or schedule for rest days. It will be very, very important for your learners, and you will see the change. And this one thing I want to leave with you today on the point of emotional and mental blocks, how you align yourself and all that. This statement is very important to align all kind of misalignments associated with your emotions, associated with your brain, and all that. You're not just revising for exams, you are preparing for impact. And impact will not come through the exams. If you can make impact without the exams, the better. The exams, they are just uh, like a very small element of the impact you'll make. I know there is impact in exams, but I don't think, is it impact really? I don't think. By the even among the best students of the country, what is their impact? How do they impact the society and the people around them when they do revise? They do score highest, uh, the highest marks reached, the highest scores in their national exams. By the way, it has pride, but you need to understand that this is not something to stress yourself. Academics is not something to stress yourself. You need to be able to plan in a way that you will not be stressed by matters academics. Yeah. I'm not saying that people should not go to school, people should not read, people should not work hard. I've said that people should give their best, not striving to be the best. Impact comes, God created everyone with a purpose. And when you are created, there is a path laid for you. Yours is to ensure you walk in that path. And if you walk in that path, the very purpose that you are created, the very purpose that you are born, will be achieved because that purpose is set for your impact into the society, in this world we are living in. I want to move so quick. The fifth reason, we say the fifth reason is what? By the way, I don't know if you had noted, I don't know if you had described them somewhere. Revision techniques. Outdated and ineffective methods of revision is one of the key issues which is affecting learning today. Many methods are old school. They usually say that old is gold. but if only it is relevant. Sometimes you may find some things which are old. Even bad things get old, and time is changing, content also, and as content gets updated, the methods of revision, the techniques needs to be updated too. For instance, the same way you used to revise, that is, I'm speaking to most of the teachers and parents, don't expect your learners to do the same way. The system has changed. So you must be adapting to the change in the systems and find the best methods. Like, for example, there is a method which I've seen common with many people and even my friends in the university. I don't know if you're affected by this, and I'm sorry, I'm just mentioning it without any negative intention. I'm not mentioning this to attack anyone, and for that reason, I drink water first. I've seen people highlighting everything. Yeah, people think that they are revising, highlighting everything. You open the book of a person and it doesn't make sense why those many highlights. It doesn't make sense at all, at all. Everything is highlighted. You ask yourself, if everything is highlighted, does that mean everything was important? Then why are you highlighting? By the way, what is the essence of highlighting when you're studying? What do you highlight? You highlight the important points which lead to the other points. You highlight the key things in the notes which help you in map your revision well, which help you when you revisit this content again. Okay, you just scan. But you've highlighted everything. That means you're going to read the whole notes again. The other thing I've seen, this used to happen long ago, and I've also seen traces of it. Copying notes, word to word. Yeah. Hello, university students. You've got a problem with this. Copying lecturers' notes into your book. What for? I've seen this, by the way. People may argue that they are doing this because phone may go off sometimes or just malfunction, and you find that they don't have access to the notes. But why don't you make a summary? Why don't you write on the things you understand yourself instead of copying notes word to word? This is where the difference comes in. A person takes a whole month or a whole of the semester copying notes, word to word, everything in their book. Then they have the notes, and you meet these people and you say, wow, they have revised. They have mastered the content. It's not that way. Let no one lie to you. And we need to understand that there is a difference between not making and not taking. We need to make notes. Is it to make or to take? We'll come to that. We'll get the difference between making and taking. But what we need to do is not to copy notes. This is something which is killing many, many learners, especially when they are revising. When you write notes once, when you have one copy of the notes, you don't need to duplicate that copy. You need to make something different, not the same thing. The other thing is reading without engagement. How many people just read without engaging with the content? They just read. It's like reading aloud. I don't know if I have something here to read. Uh, hmm. Unfortunately, I may not have something which is yes, I may read this. I may read from this book. I'll just read anything. I'll open a page and read the way many people read, but this time I'll read aloud so that you may be able to get it. What I mean, suppress the silent call of praise. Think about how terrific it feels when you get a compliment on your work, your clothes, your air, often there is an immediate lift, and then we relive those moments later to rekindle that buzz. It turns out that flurry and praise are the lethal as lethal as sugar. A little bit is fine. Then you continue reading that way. You don't pause, you don't reflect, you don't do anything. You are just reading. That is an enemy of effective revision. And by the way, do you know something? These techniques feel productive. Yeah, when people are doing this, they feel they are doing it. Meet a person who has highlighted their notes. Meet a learner who has highlighted their notes. You cannot convince them that what they have done is a waste of time and energy. And there are also others who probably parents and teachers, they are proponents, they support these very poor techniques of revision. So, what we need is better revision techniques, and some of the things which I'll talk about is things like mind mapping, things like mnemonics, things like spaced repetition, all that, and interleaving. There are many of them which we are going to discuss. They are very important. You review the material at intervals. That is what we call spaced repetition. Interleaving is mixing subjects or contents to improve adaptability and knowledge transference. And mind mapping is all about visual connections. Mnemonics, you've heard about this. This is commonly used. Acronyms, rhymes, metaphors, all that is used. And that is good. But do you know how to use them? That will be a very important thing. We need to have better revision techniques. And revision should not be passive. Revision should be active. Revision should be creative and strategic, not passive and painful. What have I said? I've said this. Revision should be active, creative, strategic, not passive and painful. So when you are revising, be creative. Ensure that you are doing it actively. You are engaging with the knowledge. Ensure that your love revision is not a painful thing. And what makes it lovable, what eases the pain of revision is when you have good strategies which are working. When revision is not working, it's indeed painful. But when it is working, it's not painful, sweet, sweet. Yeah. As sweet as this cup of water. Okay. Uh, there is something else which is remaining and which should be untold. This is the sixth reason as to why revision fails, and there is something we call the power of environment, something which is ignored by many. By the way, when you are revising, where do you revise from and how do you revise? Yes, we are seated on a table like this one. Actually, I'm using a table, and you have everything in the table on the table, books. I don't know what not. When you turn this way, chemistry. You turn this way, biology. You turn this way, a cup of tea. You turn this way, a plate full of uh, rice. You turn the other way, you find this. Yes, that is not the way revision should be. Actually, like for me, most of the times I use the corner of the room. Like here, you see this is a wall. the other side it's a wall. Because when I'm constrained here at the corner, you find that I look this way, I can see nothing. I look this way, I can see nothing. And when I'm here, just facing a blank, a plain wall, you find that for me, at least I can be focused, and there is nothing which is disturbing me. So, number one, something like cluttered desk or a table, you need to avoid it. Cluttered table or a cluttered desk when you're revising. Please avoid that. Clear your table. Take time when you're revising. The 10 minutes you take to clear your table are very important and they will help you. So take time, clear the table, make sure you have on the table the materials you are going to use for that specific session, not materials for other sessions, the past sessions or the coming sessions. People study, they leave that book there, they come, they pick another book, they study, they leave it there. And at the end, you find in the third session of revision, they are looking at 5 books. They don't know which one to read. And all of a sudden, they feel like, let me confirm something from this book. Let me check something for biology. Let me check something for history. And in that way, you find they cannot focus well. The other thing is noisy rooms, is something which parents should check. When learners are revising, make sure you give them the silence they need, because revision does not require all that kind of noise. And right now, learners are having tablets, phones, and all that, smartphones. Constant phone notifications can ruin your focus. So, what do you need to do? If you are using your phone as a revision tool for your revision, uh, you need to ensure that it is in a mode, either do not disturb, either silent, either flight mode, a mode which will not bring disturbance to you, which will not ruin your focus. And if your phone is not part of your study tool set, please keep it away. Keep it away. Don't remain with your phone there if you're not using it. I've said anything that is not part of your study tool set, take it away. Yes, there are some people who maybe they understand well under soft music, and others understand well when there is total silence. Please choose appropriately what you need. Whichever helps you focus, either background music or silence, will be a good thing, and these will help you. You also need to create a dedicated study space, not just everywhere. Somewhere you know well that this point is where I study from, and I need to switch to studies. Not imagine you are studying at your what, dining table. You're just there, plates are there, everything, dishes full of food, and you're pretending that you're studying. Does that happen in many homes? Yes, it happens. Please try to avoid that. Even if you're using the same table you use for dining, because I understand that sometimes it may not be possible to have more than one table in many houses. So please clear everything. Clear everything. Make sure the table does not have things which are not necessarily. And maybe for the people who have advanced, it is good to have a study room. But if you cannot afford a study room, please don't stress yourself up. What you have is enough for your revision. So, what we can say is that your revision, your environment should whisper focus, and should not be a shout or a source of distraction, or ruining your focus when you are revising. It is very important. People neglect this, people ignore this, but atomic as it may seem, little as it may be, it carries a lot of weight and it affects revision very much. I'm trying to move at a very high speed because I was not hoping that this should cover more than 3 lessons. This is the third lesson. And the last reason as to why revision fails is the lack of feedback loop. Revision without feedback is like shooting arrows in the dark. When you're revising, you need to know what's working and what's not working. And in this way, you can know what to change and what to retain. But most of the times, many people do not know what is working, do not know what is not working. They wait until the exam comes, and when the exam comes is when they think that now it has come the time to test all I have been doing for the whole of the term or the whole of the semester. That is not what is supposed to happen. Teachers should seek for feedback loop. You should give continuous assessments to your learners, and they should be timely. They should be testing what they're supposed to test. Because one of the things which demotivate learners is when they find that the continuous assessment tests, they are not within what learners are supposed to be tested. So please make sure they are within the specified content. Test the objectives. Make sure that you can test everything about the learning of a learner. Don't just lie to yourself that you are testing the learners and what you are testing is just read and remember questions. No, please make sure you've got application and attitude and all that. Make sure learning fully takes place and you can test where learning is not taking place. And in this, we teachers sometimes we tend to be lazy. We need to analyze every question, every thing that the learner has performed to understand that, okay, this learner is using the rote learning method. This learner is trying to apply the concept. This learner is has a deeper understanding. So all those questions should be there from the superficial understanding, questions based on superficial understanding to the questions based on depth of understanding. It's a very important thing to get the feedback. So you need to build a feedback system, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a parent, or whether you are a student. You need to build it for yourself. A parent may build it for you, or the teacher may build it for you. For example, doing past papers is one of the best methods which have proved to be effective, and they are marked honestly and they analyzed well. Some of the things you don't remember, some of the things you cannot apply. Check the type of questions you are getting wrong. That will be very, very important. Yeah. So I would like to encourage teachers and parents because there is this notion that CBE is not about exams, but no learning when there is no feedback loop. You can never know what is happening and what is not happening. CBE is not about exams, but feedback is a must for learning. I hope you're getting this. You need to focus on getting feedback to understand, yes, my learners have committed them to a revision program, to a revision system. Is this system helping them? What am I getting from this? Don't wait until the last minute to say, oh, I was disappointed. You know, there is something which is very shameful, but which we have to bear with as teachers, where you find that it is the last exam, you've done everything, you've expected to your learners to give the best, but all of a sudden they fell terribly, they fell terribly, they fell terribly, they fell terribly. The results are very disappointing. You feel, oh no, we have not learned. Even sometimes you feel like it's you didn't do your best. You need to have a feedback loop to understand and to track the progress of your learners and know how you can help them. As parents, please, after the change of the system, parents have come to think that their learners should not be sitting for exams, their learners should not be assessed. All that is, but I think at this time I'm allowed to use the word nonsense. In the first lesson, I avoided using it. Okay, this one is opinions which are they beat logic. Yeah, they are not according to the principles of learning of any other system of education, be it CBE, be it the 844 road system of learning, or whatever system may come in future. It is important to get a feedback. The other thing which can help in getting a feedback, and this is something very important even for teachers, and encourage learners to participate in this, is joining study groups where learners can compare approaches, where learners can compare application, and they discuss together about what things they have done and how they have done them. The other thing is asking for targeted advice. Learners, be friends to mentors and teachers. Teachers, be available for learners as mentors and advisors to guide, to counsel, to help. Instant help. And I mean instant help. Don't expect that you're going to keep the learners waiting. They'll give up. They'll not come again. But instant help to the learners to show them how they are going to do it, how they are going to revise, and building systems for them and getting what exactly they lack. And yeah, is very, very important. Then I would like to say that feedback isn't criticism, but rather clarity. Most of the times, people, even in schools, you need to be able to analyze exams. You need to be able to analyze the results. You're not analyzing as it's not a must you do it as a team. You can do it individually because it is a individual responsibility of a teacher to ensure that learners are getting what he or she is delivering to them, especially in their specific subjects. Let every teacher be focused. Let every teacher critique even their own exams, the setting of their own exams. Does this exam really set everything that it's required to set? Does this exam set, okay, remembering of knowledge and all that? Or is this exam right or left leaning or back or forward? You need to understand all these things, which unfortunately we are not able to share everything. And you need to be able to sit down, analyze, and understand that the weakness of each learner. As a teacher, you should be able to understand, and even without asking the learner, you should be able to say, okay, this learner is using these strategies for revision. Because you are confident enough, you know you've implemented this and you have analyzed everything. Every question, analyze questions. You don't analyze just the things about, okay, you sometimes you ask the examiner, what are some of the specific things they were targeting and setting a paper, and you find they don't even know. They just picked questions randomly, they put the questions together, they draw them to the learners. When the results come, nothing is tested, only read and remember. So I think sometimes I'll maybe talk about it, but not now. Right now is important to understand that there is this parable which was given by Jesus in Matthew chapter 13 concerning the sower. The parable of the sower is a very common parable where seeds were falling on different soils. I mean, some fell on the path. We can see some seeds were choked, some seeds were scorched, some were fruitful. And revision is like sowing. If the soil, that is your mindset, that is your strategy, that is your spirit, is poor, then the seed won't grow. The seed will grow and maybe be choked by the thorns. But if you prepare the soil well, you water it with wisdom, and you protect it from the weeds of destruction, then what do you expect? Revision will be fruitful. Revision will bear fruits, not just for exams, but actually we love people who are important for life. And exams will make sense. Because this is the last lesson, I want to share something concerning the whole of the lesson. It was actually one lesson which I it into 3 lessons concerning why revision fails. I want you today to stop and take at least 30 minutes to reflect on your current revision habits. Yes, reflect on your current revision habits. Write down number 1, what is working with your current revision habits? Number 2, what is not working with your current revision habits? And number 3, what are some of the things which need change in your revision habits? What is working? What is not working? And what needs to change in your revision habits? Reflect upon your revision habits. Please do this. Don't fail to do this. Then after this, I would request you to commit to one change today. Start changing slowly by slowly at your own pace. And maybe it's creating a timetable. Create the timetable. Maybe it's switching from passive reading to active revision. Please do it. I'll be guiding you on how we can engage with content. And it may be simply something like resting. You're squeezing yourself. You're squeezing hours out of nowhere to revise. Squeezing all other activities. Remember, work without play makes Jack a dull boy. So please make a change. This is your moment. This is your chance. This is your opportunity to grow. This is your opportunity to change and make your revision fruitful again. It is now or never. Please do it today and you'll benefit, you'll succeed, and you will thank me. I am with you all to the end, Mr. Masai. Please, let's do something. Maybe let's go like first. Let's subscribe. Yes, leave a comment. Leave a comment. Say something concerning the lessons. That is the first thing about the reasons why revision fails. Say something, ask any question. I'll be responding to the question on a video. I'll make some unplanned videos to respond to the questions you're going to ask. So when I see the questions, I'll respond to them. Please don't fail to ask questions. Don't fail to ask anything. If you have a different opinion, you can share your opinion. If it is something which can be debated, I will share my reply, my response to that. If it is something which goes undebatable, then no debates. It goes that way. Then please share with someone. Don't fail to share. Let us grow together. Let us make this family to grow, to change the lives of tens of thousands of learners in the country and everywhere. Also, if you want your learners to be coached, if you want your learners to be coached maybe at home or in school, my 07, in the first comment, you'll find it there. Please, you can reach me. I'll also share the link to my WhatsApp channel so that you may join, where I keep sharing my number every day. Yours, Sati M. Thank you for joining for today's lesson and all other lessons. May God bless you and may God bless your efforts and revision and in guiding learners to become important people in the future.